Hello guys, my name is Diego Pacheco and this is another Java video. So today I want to talk about another design pattern. This pattern can even be called lazy loading or lazy evaluation, right? So let me open my idea project here and we can see the pattern in action. So this pattern you will see being used in Spring and Hibernate. This pattern is used a lot, and you can definitely use it in your services. Imagine like you have an expensive database operation or expensive computing process, and you're not sure if exactly the user will need that, and then you can defer that. And this pattern allows us to have a sort of a callback, and only when we hit the get method that we're gonna force the expensive computation, but also we're gonna have embedded cache, and then that only happens once, right? So let's take a look. So here I have a lazy loader and I have a heavyweight DAO. So imagine here that I am calling something very expensive, something very um, heavyweight that takes a long time to run. So here I could be doing expensive query or doing expensive computation, but here for sake just of example, right? Just an example. I am doing a thread sleep for 5 seconds, right? So this give an idea that this is sort of a heavy process. Then after 5 seconds, I just return an object. So this is a dummy object. It's Java Lang object. So it's really nothing here, just returning something. It could be a string, it could be anything else, right? But I'm just returning an object. Okay, so heavyweight DAO, load expensive, gonna take 5 seconds to give us an object. Okay. Then the lazy loader is gonna be like this, right? This is we're gonna use some Java 8 style of functional programming here of suppliers, right? And let's take a look. So the lazy loader, it has a supplier. A supplier, it's a functional interface where when you call a get method, you're gonna get the parameterized generic back. In other words, when I call supplier dot, which is an interface, supplier dot get, I'm gonna get an object. Why an object? Because if you remember my heavyweight DAO, what I'm returning is an object, right? So these types need to match. So create a supplier and I'm call it heavy, right? And then I have a method that creates the supplier for me. And then here on my instance field in my property, I am calling this method here in order to create the supplier for me. And this is synchronized, right? So this will only happen once. Then I will explain this in a second. Then I have a method called getHeavy where I return a supplier of object and I just return my heavy, right? Now let's understand what create and cache heavy does. So I have a class inside of the method. I don't know if you know that, but you can do that in Java. So that method gonna have a heavy factory, and this factory gonna implement a supplier, right? So now the implementation, I need to implement the method get. And inside of this class, I have two properties. One, which is my instance of my DAO, all right? And the second one, which is a cache. This cache is a cache of an object because, again, the heavyweight DAO object returns an object, right? And I want to cache that result. And that's why I have an object here. So the get implementation is like this. Okay, it's null equals to the cache. If that's so, that's the first time. So let's synchronize the instance, right? So no one can access this DAO. And if still the cache is null, let me load expensive and cache the result. Otherwise, I just return the cache, right? Then outside of the class, right? So this is the inner class. What we do is, okay, our heavy, is that heavy an instance of a heavy factory, which is this class here? If it is not, right, never mind. If it is, right, if it's not, right, it is, instantiate a heavy factory, and the second time you run, it will be, right? So do nothing. So this means that we are only instantiating once, not twice, right? And finally, I do a heavy.get, right? And with that, let me go back here. Let me go to the main. We can run. I will debug because you're gonna see the pattern better this way in action. So when I debug it, I create a lazy loader and nothing happens, right? No delays, very fast. In idea, there's this sort of a small calculator here. By the way, I have a video that I explain some debug tricks. You can look in my blog or my YouTube channel. So here, I could, using the lazy loader dot get heavy. That's how I get the heavy object, right? And I get it very fast, right? As you can see. And the reason why I get it very fast is because nothing is happening. It only will happen when I call get. That's when I'm gonna trigger the expensive computation, right? So let me call get now. And then when I call get, okay, now actually the factor is gonna be associated because this factor was not created before. Now that it's created, okay, click it. And now that I'm gonna call get, and then there's no cache. Now we're gonna do the expensive computation, and then we're gonna wait for 5 seconds here. Okay, done. And this will be cached, and this is the result. So this was sort of slow. The other call is gonna be pretty fast because everything is cached, right? So if I go here and look the get again, right, I have a cache. So here's the cache, and that's it. All right. So that's the lazy loading, lazy evaluation pattern. I hope you guys like it. See you next time. Take care. Cheers.